My name is Ethan. I was only 16 when I learned how quickly life can turn into a nightmare. I thought I was safe, but I was wrong. I remember that night like it was yesterday. The streetlights flickered as I walked home from a friend's house. It was late, too late for someone my age to be out, but I told myself it was fine. My neighborhood was quiet, nothing ever really happened there. At least, that's what I thought. I had my headphones in, music blasting, when I noticed a van creeping slowly behind me. I thought maybe it was just someone looking for an address, so I ignored it. But then, the doors slid open. A pair of hands grabbed me before I could even scream. Something heavy slammed into my head, and the world went black. When I woke up, I was on a cold concrete floor. My wrists and ankles were tied with rough rope that cut into my skin. The room smelled of rust, mold, and something rotten. A dim light bulb flickered above me, swinging like it was barely hanging on. Then I saw him. A tall man stood in the corner. His face was pale, his eyes wide, too wide. He didn't blink. He didn't even move at first. He just stared at me. I couldn't tell if he was smiling or grimacing. For what felt like hours, he said nothing. Then finally, in a voice that was low and broken, he whispered, "You shouldn't have been outside tonight." My chest tightened. I begged him to let me go, to tell me what he wanted. But he just tilted his head, like he was studying me, like I was an animal in a cage. The days blurred together. He barely fed me, just scraps of bread, stale water. Sometimes he'd sit in the corner, whispering words I couldn't understand, words that didn't even sound like English. Other times, I'd wake up and he'd be standing inches from my face, just staring. I don't think he ever slept. The worst part? There were scratches all over the walls, names carved into the concrete. I wasn't the first person he had taken. And maybe I wasn't meant to leave. I started losing track of time. Hours felt like days. Days felt like weeks. Every sound echoed, the drip of water, the shuffle of his feet, the creak of the old door. My mind was breaking, and I knew if I didn't escape soon, I never would. One night, when he left the room, I noticed the ropes around my wrists were looser than before. My skin was raw and bleeding, but I pulled and twisted until finally, the ropes slipped free. My heart raced so loud I was sure he would hear it. I crept to the door. The old hinges groaned as I pushed it open, and for a second I froze, praying he wasn't behind me. The hallway outside was long, dark, lined with broken furniture and old pictures whose faces had been scratched out. I ran. Every step echoed. My breath came fast, shallow, but I didn't stop. Behind me, I heard the door slam open. His footsteps followed, slow at first, then faster, heavier, pounding against the floor. I didn't look back. I couldn't. If I saw his face again, I knew I'd freeze. I stumbled through a doorway, into the night air, the cold wind hitting my face like freedom. I ran into the woods, branches tearing at my arms and legs, lungs burning, until I finally saw headlights on a road. I waved, screamed, begged for help. A car stopped. A woman pulled me inside, and I collapsed. By the time the police came back to where I'd escaped from, the house was empty. No man. No ropes. No signs of life at all. They said I must have imagined parts of it, that maybe I got lost, maybe hit my head. But I know what I saw. I know what I felt. And even now, years later, when the streets are quiet at night, sometimes I hear those same footsteps behind me. Slow at first, then faster. Like he's still chasing me. There are some stories too terrifying to ever share, but tonight, I'll tell you the one I've carried alone for years. Because once you see it, once you know it's real, you'll never sleep again. I never told anyone this story before. Not my wife. Not my friends. Not even my priest when I tried to pray the memory away. For years, I've carried it like a curse, because if I told people, I was afraid it might come back for me. It started in the summer of 2009. I was working late nights, and one shift dragged on until almost midnight. My drive home usually took me down a busy highway, but that night, I decided to take the shortcut through the forest. It shaved 10 minutes off the drive, and those 10 minutes nearly ruined my life. The woods out there are suffocating at night. No streetlights, no houses. Just a black tunnel of trees swallowing the road. I was maybe halfway through when my headlights caught something crouched on the pavement ahead. At first, I thought it was a deer. But as I got closer, my stomach dropped. It wasn't a deer. It was pale. Too pale, skin stretched thin, like wet paper over bones. It crouched on all fours, but its arms were too long, longer than its legs, bent backward in ways a body shouldn't bend. Its head hung low at first, and for a moment I thought it didn't have a face. But then it lifted its head. And it looked at me. I slammed on the brakes. My tires screamed, but I didn't care, because when that thing stood up, it unfolded taller than any man I've ever seen. Its back cracked with each movement, like dry branches snapping in the woods. And its face. 2 black pits where eyes should have been. And a slit. Just a slit, until it curled into a smile so wide, I thought its skin might rip apart. I couldn't move. I couldn't breathe. It just stood there in the beam of my headlights, staring at me, smiling. Then, slowly, it started walking toward my car. Not running. Not crawling. Just walking. Like it had all the time in the world. Like it knew I wasn't going anywhere. My body finally broke free of whatever hold it had on me, and I floored the gas. The car fishtailed, and I almost spun out, but I didn't stop. Not until I was back in town. When I looked in the rearview mirror, it was gone. That night I didn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes I saw it, crouched in the road, slowly standing, smiling at me. The nights after weren't better. The image burned itself into my head. Sometimes I swore I heard scratching at my window, even though I lived on the 2nd floor. 3 weeks later, at exactly 3:14 a.m., I woke up to the sound of scratching. But it wasn't at my window. It was under my bed. I froze. The scratching stopped the moment I noticed it. I didn't move, didn't breathe. For a long time, silence filled the room. Then, slowly, the springs of the mattress shifted, like something was crawling out. I didn't look. I couldn't. I lay there until dawn with my eyes wide open, every muscle in my body locked in terror. When the sun came up, nothing was there. After that, things only got worse. I'd find long, deep scratches on my doorframe. I'd wake up with bruises I couldn't explain. Sometimes I'd wake in the night and see a pale shape standing at the end of the hall, too tall, too still. And then, when I blinked, it would be gone. My wife begged me to see a doctor. She thought I was losing my mind. Maybe I was. But madness doesn't leave claw marks in solid wood. The last time I saw it was in 2012. I was sitting in my living room around midnight, watching TV to keep from falling asleep. The static buzz filled the room when suddenly, the screen went black. And in the reflection of the glass, behind me, I saw it, standing in the corner, smiling. I turned, but it was gone. Just shadows. But the smell of damp earth and rot lingered in the room for hours. I moved houses. I changed jobs. I tried everything to escape. But I still wake up most nights at 3:14 a.m. My ears ring with silence, waiting for the scratching to start again. And sometimes, when I'm too tired to fight it, I see it watching me from the corner. That's why I never told anyone. Because once you know it's real, it finds you. And now, maybe it'll find you too. If this story sent chills down your spine, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more terrifying true-style stories. Trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next.